And greetings! Welcome to this video introducing you to the IATGen tool for building implicit association tests in online surveys, specifically for use with Qualtrics. In this video, I want to walk you through how you will build an IAT, and I want to get you up and running with it as quickly as possible. If you wish to get more information about the IAT, about IATGen, and more in-depth documentation and tutorials, please see our IATGen paper, as well as other files and tutorials which you can access here at our IATGen homepage. That is at iatgen.wordpress.com, which we are not going to look at right now. Instead, we are just going to get up and running as quickly as possible. In this video, I am going to assume you're familiar with the IAT, and so you should know that we're going to have two targets, say insects and flowers, that we want to compare on some dimension, say pleasant to unpleasant. Because this will therefore require 4 items, insects, flowers, pleasant, and unpleasant, I am going to need 4 sets of stimuli, specifically insect words, flower words, pleasant words, and unpleasant words. Once you have that, you basically have your entire IAT. You simply just need to put this information into IATGen, and the tool does the rest for you. To set up an IAT in IATGen, simply start by giving the IAT a name, say flowins for flower insect, and then go ahead and simply give the attribute positive and negative categories a name, say pleasant and unpleasant, if we're going to follow the original Greenwald et al. IAT. And then if we wanted to compare flowers and insects, we would just type that information in. From here, all we need to do is tell IATGen what words to use, and to do that, just simply click Add below each of these stimuli pools, and you can type in a stimulus and add it. And it adds it to the list. Now, if you don't want to go ahead and set an insect flower IAT up fully from scratch, you are welcome to click the Load Example button, and we actually preload it for you. So if you want to play with IATGen, this is the easiest way to do it. Just click Load Example, and you see it all filled out for you. And that's really all there is to it. You'll just simply click the Download Qualtrics Survey file, and you're ready to go. I'll walk you through what that means in a minute. What just happened? It just built the IAT for you, and if you go to your Downloads folder, you'll see here it's got it all ready to go. A Qualtrics survey file is here ready to run. And that's pretty much all there is to building an IAT in IATGen. So I said this would be a 5-minute video. Of course, we haven't even really scratched anywhere near that, so this is good. There are a few things that you should know at this point. So the first is, if you wanted to use images, all you have to do is come over to either the target or attributes and just change it from words to images. And from here, you would want to remove all the stimuli, and you would want to replace them not with words, but with URLs, image URLs. So you would simply add, and then you would type in the web address for the image. So you have to have the images stored online already, and then you're just going to link to them. IATGen, of course, runs on the internet, and so it will display images that are on the internet. Of course, if you're going to do that, I strongly recommend you have Qualtrics host the images for you. The simple reason being, you know that if your participants are taking the Qualtrics survey, your Qualtrics account is running, it exists, the images are there. Whereas if you're linking to some other website, you don't have control over those. I don't recommend using other image hosting services like Flickr or even Google Drive, as most other services have image viewer tools that they build in to try to make your life more convenient, but actually messes with the IAT. We recommend that you have image files in a .png or JPEG format, and we recommend your images be about 250 pixels in height, and they will display nicely in the IAT box. Of course, you're welcome to try different heights out yourself and see how they look. I'm not going to show you an image IAT right now, although if you do want to see one, just go to our IATGen website, and on the downloads page, there's an example IAT with images in it that you can download yourself and play with in Qualtrics, already configured for you, as is the insect flower one. So let's go ahead and build our insect flower one. All we have to do is click the download button, and you saw this little warning message here. This little warning message simply tells you that when you go to add it to Qualtrics, you need to set the visual theme to minimal and turn page transitions off. Qualtrics has historically not needed you to ever do this because Qualtrics will always just read in whatever the settings were that IATgen built, but as of the summer of 2017, that feature is not quite working, so you just have to manually tell Qualtrics to use this theme and all will be good. So you'll click your download button and it's in your downloads folder. And there you go. That is an IAT ready to go. This will use current best practice guidelines for running the IAT. All of this is described in detail in the IATgen paper. That said, if you wanted to play with the settings yourself, you're always welcome to do so. Simply click Advanced Settings and you can change many different features. So first off, by default, attributes, so the pleasant, unpleasant, show up in green, and the targets, the insects and flowers words will show up in black. This is done in most IATs, have different colors to help people keep the categories straight. The IAT is not trying to confuse your participants, and so you don't want participants getting confused. If you see a word like spider, you want to make sure people are understanding that that's one of the targets, not an attribute. This is just standard practice in the IAT. You can change the number of trials per block here. We have our settings here, the defaults. We describe these in depth in our paper. You can change the pause between trials. I don't know why you'd want to, but you're welcome to do so. Some people have in the literature. And our paper gives citations for people and studies that have modified these if you're interested. You can put a little reminder note up that tells participants to remember to use the E and I keys. If you're running this on a platform like mTurk, that might be nice in case your participants skim the directions and suddenly don't remember what buttons to press. I've seen this on Project Implicit IATs hosted through Harvard before, so you're welcome to do that. It's obviously, well, probably not necessary, but it doesn't seem to matter either way. And then the last feature which we recommend you use is telling participants to correct an error. So if a participant presses the wrong button on any trial for the IAT, say they were supposed to press E and they press I, with this enabled, it does not advance to the next trial automatically. They see an error message on the screen, and then they have to actually press the correct button to go forward. And what this does is this forces participants to spend a little bit of time correcting the trial. Now, historically in the IAT, when people make an error in the data analysis end, you add a little penalty, an error penalty for that. So you typically would add about 600 milliseconds to whatever trial where they got an error on them. And that essentially adds a delay to the scoring, and there's reasons for that, and if you want to understand that, you're welcome to check out the Greenwald et al. 2003 paper that discussed that. We cited in our IATgen paper. However, modern practice generally tells people to just correct the trial, and that actually builds in the error penalty. If people spend time correcting the trial, that naturally slows them down, and then you don't have to add some sort of artificial penalty on the back end. So I like it for that reason. It also reinforces the correct response. You know, people have to actually press the correct button, and so that reinforces the procedure, suggesting that participants don't just mash buttons to get through the procedure. I think if they're going to do that, they're going to do that, but regardless. So these are current best practices for IATs. Go ahead and check out our paper and other IAT methods papers if you want to play with any of these for citations, for all of this stuff. But the defaults should be satisfactory for anybody running an IAT survey. And that's all you need to know. The IAT is ready to upload to Qualtrics. In the next video, I'll show you how you upload it to Qualtrics and how you might configure it. So stay tuned.